Okay, so, wow, you guys have really sent us a lot on this one.
Yeah.
Star Citizen.
It's a big one.
It really is, and it seems like everyone's got an opinion. You know what I mean?
It's definitely a polarizing topic, for sure.
It is. It's revolutionary, some people are saying, and then others a complete disaster.
Right, and sometimes those people are the same people.
Yeah, exactly.
From day to day.
So what is the real story here?
Yeah. That's the question, isn't it?
Is this game worth all the hype,
Mm-hmm.
or is it just like a galaxy of broken promises?
That is what we are diving into today.
Exactly right. And so have you played a space sim before?
Oh yeah, I love space sims.
Okay, cool.
I grew up playing them.
All right, so what draws you to Star Citizen specifically?
Well, I think for me it's the potential.
Okay.
It's not just another space shooter. It's
Right.
like they're really trying to create a living, breathing universe.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot in the stuff that people sent us.
Yeah.
Like, this is a persistent universe. You can be a trader, pirate, miner, a journalist.
You can even just like hang out in bars and listen to music.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's crazy.
That's wild. Yeah, this is not just another space shooter.
No, it's like they took every sci-fi fantasy you've ever had and just crammed it all into one game.
Yeah, and from what I'm seeing, they kind of pulled it off in a pretty unique way, too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, they launched this huge crowdfunding campaign back in 2012, I think it was.
Yeah, one of the biggest in gaming history, for sure.
Yeah, and people were just so amped about this vision. You know, they poured millions into the project just to get early access to the game's development.
I mean, that's unheard of, right?
It really is, and I think this whole early access model thing, combined with this, just the promise of a truly immersive universe,
Yeah.
that's what fueled the hype.
It's just this promise of something we've never seen before.
Yeah, and that's where things get interesting, because it's like a supernova, right? Burning too bright, and then,
It all comes crashing down.
well, kind of right, because then the bugs and glitches start piling up.
Yeah, and we're not just talking about like, a texture popping in here or
Yeah.
there. This is like your ship disappearing.
Imagine, like, you've meticulously customized this starship,
Spent hours on it.
hours, yeah, and then poof, it's gone.
Yeah, or your entire play session just wiped out by a server crash.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Heartbreaking.
That's not just inconvenient. That, like, ruins the experience.
Completely.
Yeah, and so I guess the question becomes, like,
Well, what? Right.
yeah, why are these issues so persistent?
Yeah.
Like, this game's been in development for over a decade.
Right, and you have to remember like the scope of this thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like we're talking thousands of star systems,
Right.
detailed planetary surfaces. It's insane.
So are these technical issues just a consequence of this crazy ambition?
I mean, I think that's a big part of it, right? It's like they're trying to build this giant clock, and every single feature, every spaceship is a gear.
I like that analogy.
And if one gear malfunctions, the whole thing can just stop.
So they're basically trying to build the most complex clock ever.
Yeah, and with millions of people watching.
Breathing down their necks, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, the pressure must be immense.
Yeah, and all of that pressure kind of culminates with this whole Squadron 42 thing.
Oh yeah, the single player campaign.
Right. It's become, like, almost mythical at this point.
It was supposed to be this huge Hollywood level production.
Right. Like, star-studded cast, cutting-edge graphics, gripping narrative.
But it's been delayed so many times.
Like, some people backed this project in 2012. They're probably wondering if they'll ever even get to play it.
It's definitely a source of frustration for a lot of backers.
Yeah. And kind of makes you think about the ethics of this whole early access and crowdfunding model.
Right, because people have poured thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars into this game.
Just for virtual spaceships.
And the core game is still unfinished.
Yeah. So is Star Citizen exploiting its community?
It's a tough question to answer.
It is. But then on the other hand, you have this whole community of players who are, like, deeply invested in Star Citizen.
Yeah, like despite all the flaws.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're organizing these in-game events, giving feedback to the developers, constantly and passionately defending the game against any criticism.
So what's driving that? You know?
What is that? Is that blind faith, or is it something more?
Well, it's probably a bit of both, right?
Like,
For some people, it's definitely the sunk cost fallacy. They've invested so much time and money, they can't walk away now.
right.
But for others, it's a genuine belief in the vision. They see the potential.
You see the universe.
Yeah, and they're willing to put up with the bugs and the delays because they believe it'll be worth it in the end.
So it's almost like a religion in a way.
It kind of is.
Yeah, it's become this, like, cultural phenomenon.
For sure.
A symbol of both, like, the ambition of game development, but also the peril of it.
And the power of community.
Yeah,
I mean, think about it. They've raised over $500 million from crowdfunding. That's more than most Hollywood blockbusters.
So what does that tell us about the future of gaming?
Well, I think it shows that players are hungry for something different.
Something new.
They want experiences that are truly immersive, and they're willing to invest in that vision.
Even if it means dealing with some bumps along the way.
Yeah, I think Star Citizen is a testament to that.
So as Star Citizen continues on this journey,
Yeah.
I guess the big question for all of us is,
What are we willing to tolerate?
yeah,
How much trust do we put in developers?
and how much responsibility do developers have to deliver on their promises?
Especially when those promises are so grand.
Yeah, that's something for everyone to think about, I guess.
That and whether or not they want to spend another $10,000 on a virtual spaceship.
Yeah, maybe hold off on that one.
Maybe just wait a little bit.
See how things unfold.
Exactly.
All right, well, that was our deep dive into Star Citizen.
It's a fascinating story,
It really is.
and it's far from over.
That's for sure.
We'll have to revisit this, see where it all lands.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time, folks.